Hello, my lovely people. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Jen. This is the first time that you are seeing me. Thank you so much for stopping by. My return subscribers, I love you guys. So this video that I'm making today is to let you guys, I made a video a couple of days ago that I posted about what the president of America is doing, how President America sent Nigeria the list, the six people that are the ones that are sponsoring terrorism in Nigeria, because the same list that he sent out for Nigeria, the EU has sent this list before to them. They sat down on it. This was like years ago. Now, Trump has come in and brought out the list again and showed it to Nigeria. And when Americans, please, we are very, very sorry. We Africans, we are very, very sorry for what you are going through, for what you think that your president, our president here is putting us through. Egg is expensive. Everything is expensive. Everything has been hijacked into. But don't worry, we like what is happening over there in our country, like in Nigeria. They brought out the list before he came. They showed us the same America that is bringing out the list now. Brought something and said that Ahmed Bola Tinubu is in their CIA pocket, that it's an asset to them, that anytime they need him, they can use it, have a say. We don't have a choice. We can take it or we leave it. We don't have any choice. We yab. But now, this president is putting his foot down and said all the criminals, all the drug cartels, all of you are terrorists. And then he started it. He put his foot down. And now, what he's doing that is making me to make this video is now Trump and the EU government, they have joined hands together and finally named the people that are doing all this criminality in our country. Oh yes, he did it here. Whew! Finally, their names are out, thanks to EU and America. And I heard that a whole bunch of money that was mentioned. If I mentioned it here, you will probably run over. Did they say 700 or something or whatever amount, or 70 something? But the money is too much. That was about to go to Nigeria to continue the sponsoring of that, and was hijacked by EU and America. And these six people that they're going to name here, they are now in jail in EU. So they live in EU, in Saudi Arabia. I think that's where they say they live. They live in Saudi Arabia, and they are there sponsoring terrorism in Nigeria, because that's what Nigerian government want them to do, so that they can be using deleting people to win election. So that they can use the deleting people to distract people, so they can write election and put their names wherever it is that they want to. That's what they do in Nigeria. But now, America is calling their names. Their names are finally out. So, Trump, kudos to you. Kudos to you for showing us what they have been sitting down on. And now they say those six people have been jailed. Their names are out. You think all this time that their name is out, it's now a couple of days or getting to a week that their names have been announced out. You think Nigerian government have come out to say something about it? They have not come out to say anything about it. Instead, in the news, what they are saying that America don't have right to come and put them out. America don't have right to come and say, America will show you guys that they have right to come and put them out when they are giving you aid, when you are collecting money, when they are giving you all manner of money from their country. You say they don't have right. You made it possible for them to be inside your problem by depending on them. When you depend on people, you become their slave. You become their slave. You depend on them to eat. You depend on them for drugs. You depend on them for any kind of medicine that our people need. You depend on them for loans. So when you depend on these people for all this, you don't want them to tell you how to use it on what you should do for you to continue getting those things that you are getting. Sorry, you have a wrong number. Now, they are calling the names of the people that are doing this terrorism thing. So, and I was so happy. Oh, so thank you, President Trump. Thank you, EU government. I love you guys. Nigerians appreciate every one of you. Please continue doing what you are doing. Do not stop. Please help our country. They cannot help themselves. I know if you guys have hand in what is happening by holding them so they can give you whatever, it will be better. It will be way better to like bring all these people out so that they can go in for their crime. So the country can work on getting better so that these people don't be running all over the place trying to come here and find themselves on the road trying to get here. So please, thank you all so much for this amazing thing that you guys have done. I need you guys to listen. I need you guys to listen to the names of the people that are the ones that are sponsoring. We know some of them in Nigeria that are the ones that they are sending the money to. Like it was rumored. This one was rumored that the vice president of Nigeria, Shitty Man, is one of the people that are sponsoring terrorism. Somebody came out on Arise News and said the people that are sponsoring terrorism, some of them are in the government. Some of them are big in the government. Some of them are in the Asorok. Asorok, who are the people that are in it? You guys know. They are in the presidency. They are the governors. They are the House of Reps. They are the House of Representatives. So that's why they don't want to call their names. And as long as they don't want to call their names, I want these people from outside to bring them out so that we Nigerians can see it. And it has started happening. So please listen to all the names that was called that are doing it. And guess what? They have put them in jail. In Saudi Arabia, they are all in jail. The 6 people have been arrested. Some of them will serve for life sentence. And some of them, when they finish serving, they will deport them to Nigeria. Please don't deport them to Nigeria. Let them stay where they are. Leave them there. Let them stay there and buy. Sending them to Nigeria is like making terrorism even worse because you don't know how much they have saved in Nigeria that will make them continue. Thank you all. This video is to thank America and EU for bringing the names of these people that Nigerians have been crying and screaming for. Thank you, guys. We appreciate, we Africans, we appreciate you. We thank you. We thank you. We thank you. And we thank you. So please watch the video and hear the names of these people that are doing this thing. Then you use your teeth. Use your tongue to count your teeth to know the ones that they are sending all this money to in Nigeria that are doing all these things in Nigeria. After you see this vice president that is staying with headsmen or Boko Haram in the bush. This is the president of vice president of Nigeria sitting with the terrorists. So you use your head. Oh, me, I no talks. I did not say that he is the one. It's alleged that he was one of the people that are sponsoring terrorism. If not, why is he sitting with these people to stay here to eat? But you know what? A drug dealer and a Boko Haram man, is a good match for them. So, but now their names will come out one after the other. Thank you, President Trump, and thank you to EU people because they gave you guys list and you're supposed to bring out the list and call their names so that all of them can be punished, just like Burkina Faso president punish every one of them, brought their names, close all their accounts, go after all the people that they are giving the money and all the accounts that they have closed. You refuse to bring it out. And now that you refuse to bring it out, all of you will go in for it. So please watch the video, hear their names, whatever you want to do with their name, from me to you. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.
All right, good morning and thank you so much for joining us. It's a brand new week and of course we'll be taking you straight into a topic for discussion today on today's edition on TMI. Once again, my name is Joshua Okata and of course I'll be your host and guide on today's episode. We'll be looking at insecurity in Nigeria. Of course, you would agree with me that insecurity is one of the top issues that is being looked looked into by any responsible and, of course, responsive government if such nation is to move forward. And, of course, that brings us to the issue of 6 foreign Nigerians who are residing currently in the United Arab Emirates. And of course, it will interest you that heavy sanctions have been placed on them by the United States through its agency for being involved in terror financing, particularly Boko Haram in Nigeria. The United States has imposed new sanctions on individuals with Nigeria who are connected with Nigeria's armed group Boko Haram. The Treasury Department announced 6 Nigerian nationals who were found guilty of setting up a Boko Haram cell in the United Arab Emirates to raise funds for fighters in Nigeria have been placed on sanctioned lists. This action, the United States joins the UAE in targeting terrorist financing networks of mutual concern. Under Secretary of the Treasury Brian Nelson said on Friday, Treasury continues to target financial facilitators of terrorist activities worldwide. We welcome multilateral actions on these Boko Haram networks to ensure that it is not able to move any funds through international financial system, he added. And of course, joining us to make sense, to this discussion, I'm being joined by my guest in the person of Mr. Ibe. Good morning, Mr. Ibe, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
All right. So you listened to my monologue, and of course you realize that for close to about a decade right about now, Nigeria has been faced with terrorism, particularly with a very dangerous terror group known as Boko Haram. You would also understand the fact that this terror group has largely made the northeastern region completely economically desolate as a result of its nefarious acts. Now, what comes to your mind having seen that this terror group, especially those who are behind the financing of these activities, have not only been convicted, they've also been identified. Their faces has been unmasked, and of course their names have been published. What comes to your mind when you hear such?
Yeah, thank you so much. Pleasure being here. When it comes to security issues, most times the voices are low in speaking up, and more so in Nigeria, where fear will always come to anybody whose minds is bent down for what he wants to do or speak up against the activities of the terror groups. Does it not worry you that the whole of this is being done outside the shores of this country, where individuals outside this country will identify those who are involved, directly or indirectly involved in these shenanigans? And it worries me too that in the past few days, weeks, when their names had been mentioned, like you read, it's no longer a huge talk. It's no longer hidden. Their name has been mentioned. Individuals have been pointed, and till now we've not had any word from the government. Government has not spoken, releasing a communique or releasing a press release on this very issue, because it's at the front burner, and the issues at the front burner should be tackled the way they come. Okay, and thank God for the courage of the government in the US, who eventually tells you that, look, in your country, we have few names, individuals who cause chaos in this environment, and at a point in time, I think the government wanted to take up an action against few individuals not printed then. Their names were not known. We were not told, these facilitators, their names were not mentioned anywhere. But now the name had been come up. The name had been mentioned. individuals have been identified. Because when it comes to linking these individuals to this terrorist group, they are not the only people. They are not. We have other sub-individuals who play a huge role to carrying out this nefarious act. I think government should sit up, come up with this courage to go after the people, because there's a lead already. There's a lead, and this lead should not be allowed to be swept under the carpet. But we are not new to all this.
Okay, now you, in your statement, you said it's very worrisome, considering the fact that up until this time, we've never had any statement, any press statement from any quarters of government, in support of this giant strike by the United States. And, for better want of word, it's such an embarrassment and a shame for Nigeria not to have made any statement. Now, look at the fact that these individuals have been unmasked. And of course, the stringent sanctions that have been placed on them, some have been given life imprisonment, and of course, some have been given a jail term of 10 years. Yes, and of course, after that jail term, they will be deported back to their country of origin. I asked you the question earlier from a sour taste of my mouth, because I understand that the approach, especially in the war of terrorism, has never been very appreciated by the Nigerian government. It became a joke, a national joke of its own, when we started seeing the nation giving pardon to repentant Boko Haram. What's your take on that?
It's a shame if anybody comes outside your home and tell you the rat that has been boring holes everywhere in your house has been identified. I think the right thing, anybody who actually want to put a hold to issues giving rise in his house should work hard to stem it out or stamp it out. Okay, and the era of naming and shaming has presented itself. If the government before now couldn't do anything because they are playing under the guise that these guys had to be identified also, I think now the name had been called up, like I earlier mentioned. Why not work on it? Why not rise to the occasion? Why not begins to work on it diligently? Well, sometimes we've been told that the security issues are not discussed in the open by the security agencies. But from the leeway we've got from both United Arab Emirates and the USA, it is enough evidence to begin to get the people who are rightly, directly, or indirectly connected to these people, because they don't act in isolation. They don't. Now they have their connections.
Yes, we understand.
And let government begins to use this opportunity, begin to have on this opportunity to actually stamp them out, to actually begin to know who are connected. These are individuals. They are somewhere. They are in United Arab Emirates, currently serving a jail term. Some have been sentenced to life imprisonment. Can we meet them? Because they definitely will speak up. To me, it is a best time and the wonderful time that has never presented itself that we are in now.
All right. Now we'll be transiting yet to another area of the conversation, which will be coming shortly after this time out. Please don't go nowhere. Welcome back, and of course, it's still your current affairs program, TMI, and we have been looking at the issue of insecurity bedeviling the country, Nigeria. And of course, that brings us to the stringent sanctions that have been placed on Nigerian nationals residing in the UAE, especially by the United States of America, for being involved in terror financing in Nigeria, particularly Boko Haram. And my guest here in the person of Zik Ibe has been giving us some level of perspective when it comes to the body language of Nigerian government, saying the fact that 8 citizens have not only been indicted, convicted, and of course identified as being part and parcel of this dangerous terror group. Now, my next question to you would be, what do you think could have been the reason why it took Nigeria this long to be able to get, to a level where we will be unmasking, not just mentioning of, terror crimes that have been committed in various parts of the country, but having to identify who they are, particularly, and of course, their financiers?
I think that's a food dragging or lackadaisical, well, I call it lackadaisical attitude. Most times when you raise issues of this nature, the government, the security personnel or the security agency will tell you that securities are not discussed in the open, and telling you that they have their way of tackling high-powered security issues like this. We believe them. Nobody is doubting they are not doing their work. They do, okay? But being overwhelmed is where the curiosity comes from. Because at this part, naming and shaming anyone who is involved in this act is very important, because that's the only way you can put a stoppage or nip it in the bud. And another error in the country that has actually fueled insecurity in Nigeria is we never punished offenders. Offenders are not being punished. That's my word. Because if anything happens and someone is used as a scapegoat, or someone is being taught a lesson, or someone is being dealt with arising from what he did, others will learn from it. But if you look at decades of insecurity we've had in the country, it is obvious that many individuals who are involved in this are not being shown exit doors, are not being punished. Because punishment remains the only solution to putting a stop to evils.
That brings to mind the issue about a certain statement made by a former top general who once said that if terrorism festers for more than 24 hours,
the government is involved.
So does it speak to the fact that while these persons have not been mentioned or even identified and of course shamed, could be as a result of the fact that some certain top government officials are involved in this? Could that be said of it?
Not there. We are not security agencies or individuals, but being security conscious, you should know what could end a security issue in your environment. We are talking about top security links here, Boko Haram, ISIS, and Al-Qaeda. But how did they start? It is by little, just like Niger Delta restiveness started, just like IPOB started. Do you understand? And this is how they give rise to so many of these. Because they were not earlier checkmated. They were not earlier quelled. If by any reason anything starts for that nation and they are nipped in the bud, you've killed it. That is how to uproot it. But if lip services are given to it, looking other ways when they are happening, before you know it, they fester. Before you know it, they grow to monsters. Before you know it, they grow more than they could be curtailed. And that is why we find ourselves here. This brings me to the earlier thought that if we found ourselves in areas of unquietness and we did not pay attention to it, how did we go to where we are? It was during the Jonathan period, led by Yusuf. Okay, Yusuf was held in the detention. Before you know it, he was killed, and that's how the whole thing went gaga.
Now let's look at the stringent sanctions that has been placed, by these, 6 Nigerian nationals residing in UAE, vis-a-vis the kind of treatment given to Boko Haram members or fighters in Nigeria, especially when they are being arrested. Nigeria became a joke of itself when we saw presidential pardon be given to so-called repentant to so-called repentant Boko Haram members.
Yes.
And of course, we saw them taking even further step by even taking some of them on what we call rehabilitation and of course scholarship. They were given scholarship programs.
And integrated into the society.
And reintegrated into the society. Where in the part of the world is such being practiced? If the US could, hit hard on financiers of, terrorism in Nigeria, are you saying that the US would at any time arrest any Boko Haram suspect and then give presidential pardon to such persons? Where is that being practiced?
In every part of the world, insecurity is I wouldn't say it's normal, no. But no country in the world don't experience insecurity. No country in the world. All the countries in the world have, one way or the other, been involved in tackling their own internal insecurity. Ours is not in exclusion. But the issue remains that the moment you notice disquiet in an environment, any responsible government should rise to that occasion. Should nip it in the bud. How do you nip it in the bud? You must identify the individuals and show them the exit doors. By whichever way you want to show them exit doors, that's not what I'm talking here. But I must say that they must be punished adequately, so that it will serve as a lesson or deterrent to others who is still having notion of that same act. That is where our issue stems from. We don't punish offenders. We pay lip services to those who cause troubles among us. We pamper and window dress issues that need urgent national attention. So in as much as all these are not being brought forward on those who perpetrate acts that are causing disquiet to people in their environment, they must fester. Okay? And that is what had brought us to this place. Now, in so many terror groups we have in the country, we are going too far. Boko Haram has gone far. Is becoming a situation where nobody curtails again. But it is not uncurtail. You can curtail it, doing the right thing. Okay? And the moment you do all this, it is all about teaching those who have the same notion a lesson that you shouldn't go there.
Okay, now for the sake of emphasis, now let's look at the names that have been mentioned vis-a-vis the amounts that are being used in financing terrorism in Nigeria here.
And now, sir, insecurity is becoming a big business.
Yes. So talking about
a big business, an enterprise. So many individuals.
So we're going to look at the economic aspect of it when you talk about big business to persons who are behind it. Now I'm going to mention the names of these 6 Nigerians for emphasis sake. We have persons like Abdulrahman Ado Musa. We have Salisu Yusuf Adamu. We have Bashir Ali Yusuf. We have Muhammad Ibrahim Isa, Ibrahim Ali Al Hassan, and Surajo Abubakar Muhammad. These are the 6 persons
that are
Nigerians residing in UAE who are financing terrorism in Nigeria. Now, look at the amount that they were convicted of. They have a stunning amount to the tune of $782,000 that were about to be sent to Nigeria in financing terrorism. Now that brings me to the issue of those who are behind this for the sake of business. Now let's look at the financial institution. This money couldn't have just flown in the air.
No.
It came through a system.
Yeah.
Now, so do you think that the banks are also complicit in this act?
Unfortunately, or very unfortunately, we don't have such a strong data that could track illicit funds. We don't have it. Very unfortunate. US have been able to establish this. UAE has been able to establish this. But unfortunately, the country where the money is heading doesn't have such a data, doesn't have such a technological advancement to track such illicit fund.
Could it be that we do not have the wherewithal, or it was a deliberate attempt, perhaps political will isn't there?
We have the wherewithal. We have what we lack is the political will to actually set up a technology, set up that manpower, set up individual who could monitor. It's a diaspora remittance now.
Yes.
Okay, is the diaspora remittance. And what that means is that any money that comes in, that goes out of the country, in hard currencies, should be tracked. But in our own climate and in our own environment, such monies might not see the light of the day. They might not see it. And the individuals are there who equally could track it just like other countries are tracking it. But we don't have that political will. We don't have that technological power or advancement to actually rise to it. So it's a problem. And it looks like we have a system who just is weak towards curbing all this. Because if such amount of $782,000 US finding its way into the country to encourage these bad boys in what they do, and you could not tell us that, well, it could even be captured sometime as diaspora remittance, but not being specific. Because in so many countries of the world where technology is being used to do so many things, such money has a link and what is being used for. So amount of money coming into the country in huge amount should have a target, should have a tag. Why it's coming into the country, for what? What project? What for? But it's not being monitored by anyone. So it comes in and it filters into people, into individuals, and that's the end of it. It could even go into the manufacturers of rifles, and that's the end of it. So your country, my country, is weak in this track.
Now, talking about the porosity of our system, especially when it comes to curbing most of these leakages where money comes in from, like the financial system I just mentioned, there is no specific nature as to monies that are being sent as diaspora remittances that you just mentioned. Now, let's look at other aspects of this sanction. We're talking about a state where, aside from the fact that the money in question here has been confiscated, these individuals have been jailed for various jail terms. We're also looking at properties that came from proceeds of this crime. Now we are being told that these properties, either belonging to individuals, directly or by proxies, have been blocked and reported to the agency saddled with that responsibility in the name of OFAC. Now, what do you speak of Nigeria as a country, looking at our anti-graft agencies that are saddled with the responsibility of going after, financial crimes, simply put?
Such jobs need a very holistic approach to so many of these things. You and I recently I watched with a story of an estate belonging to someone who eventually said, no, I'm not the owner, and the government confiscated it. Until today, nobody knew who owns the property. Those are funny situations we have in the country. You and I, in the past, heard of a particular private jet that carried some money from Nigeria here and landed in South Africa. Until tomorrow, those dollars in the private jets and the owners of the private jets were not known till tomorrow. So this is how porous our country is. Certain things that happen are not linked to anyone. But even though the government might know those who are directly or indirectly linked to this, but the deficit of information coming to the public in the knowledge of how all this happens becomes an error that we have battled with over the years. When also a property, an estate that housed over 800 and something units of house was linked to someone, and the person, no, I'm not the person, I'm not the owner, and the government could not tell us till tomorrow who owns that property. How did it come to light? So these are funny things we've experienced in the country. But then, in the words of the Olukoyede, the EFC's chairman, he said so many of these fights are not brought to the public because of their security implications. And we believe him. But we've urged him we in the public space have always urged him to bring the names, shame them, because it is only doing so that the work is being seen as being done. Because otherwise, when you speak in rhetorics, when you speak in parables, without linking them to so many of these infractions, to us who are laymen, who are very deficient in information that has been dished out to the public, we feel you are window dressing. We feel enough strength or enough effort is not being put into what you do. Okay. Because we believe it is only then, when individuals are mentioned, when things are being done in the open, that we could see you as being serious.
All right, now so let's talk.
But not really waving away the job they do. They do marvelous job because we have a system that encourage individuals who are in nefarious activities to continue.
All right, so let's look at collaborative measures that could be put in place by Nigeria and of course some of her bilateral relations that she has. Now, what do you think can be done in the area of strengthening our security agencies and of course the anti-graft agencies by extension to be able to make sure that funds coming from financial crime are being curbed? And of course, stemming the tides against terrorism goes beyond merely just talking about arrest. They should be given a very stringent sanction, if need be, jail term.
Yes. Nigeria as a country is a member of so many international bodies. Nigeria in the community of nations are members of so many treaties. Okay? To me, that's the way to go. Because if I'm in partnership with you and anything goes wrong in my country and such is traced to your country, I should be able to be assisted by you. That's simply what it is. Recently we heard that Nigeria is now a partner, not a member country of BRICS. Okay?
Yeah.
A partner, not a member country of BRICS. I think soon they will transit into becoming a member of BRICS. And if that happens, that means there's a collaboration. That means there's a ties.